Well, good morning and welcome to this morning's webinar from Ecoprod. Everything you wanted to know about waterless urinals, but were afraid to ask. This is based on the frequently asked questions that we hear when we are out and about talking to people about waterless urinals, that we thought we would package up and try and answer it in one go. So just before we start, a few kind of housekeeping points. We are recording today's session and we'll make sure that everybody gets a link afterwards so that you can watch the session back or share it with colleagues who you also think would be interested. There will also be a copy of the slides available for you to download as well and share if you would like. We can run these sessions as a private session for you. If you have a group of colleagues who you think would be interested, please just get in touch and ask. We'd be very happy to do that kind of thing for you. And you'll note all your lines are muted, so we can't hear you, but we do still invite questions. There is a question and answer function on the GoToWebinar control panel. Please do feel free to use that, or the chat function as we go through the session. We'll try and answer those at the end, or if we run out of time, we'll make sure that we follow up with you separately. So the agenda for today is just a few introductions, and then, as I said, we'll run through what we find are the frequently asked questions that we hear when talking about waterless urinals. So why this particular type of waterless urinal, the URIMAT brand that we sell here at Ecoprod, how the URIMAT waterless urinals work, things you need to know about installing the URIMAT waterless urinals, but also cleaning and maintaining them once they're in situ. We'll talk through a few case studies and should have time at the end for a few questions. So, introductions. I'm Rachel Clinton. I'm the Business Development Manager here at Ecoprod. I'm mostly in the background today, fielding any questions that you may have. Marcus is our main presenter for the day. And I think, Marcus, if I hand over to you at this stage.
Thank you, Rachel. And morning to everyone on this webinar. Glad that you've been able to join us, and hopefully that we can give you all the resource and information you need so that you're informed at the end of this webinar in relation to the URIMAT waterless urinal technology. Just a bit of background to Ecoprod and the team here. I'm the founder of the company. I trained as a mechanical and electrical engineer, and back in 2006 I saw the need for the commercial washroom environment to be more sustainable, less wastage of water, so on and so forth. It was actually around the time of the fallout of 3 consecutive dry winters we'd had in 2003, 4 and 5. Possibly everyone on the call knows that it's not summer droughts that really create our stress in terms of water infrastructure. It's actually dry winters that exacerbate that whole issue. So come 2006, I thought that this need for sustainability, particularly water saving in commercial washrooms, would become a need. Obviously, today we're going to be talking about the URIMAT urinal technology, but at Ecoprod we also provide and quite a number of other products. They all have USPs of their own right, and you can see some of the brand names there on the screen in front of you. And really the promise we have as experts at Ecoprod is that we can provide water and energy saving products that not only good for the environment but also good for any organization's bottom line. On to the next slide, please.
Oh.
So on the screen there in front of you, you can see some of the brands of clients that we have. Probably one of the largest single addition would be Tottenham Hotspur down there in the bottom right hand corner. They trialled the URIMAT technology for the last season at the old White Hart Lane Stadium and found that it was a washroom solution for them, even in their very high footfall location. Obviously McDonald's we managed to work with them to meet their water reduction target with one product in 2007. And even though they're some large operators, we've got lots of many small washroom operators have only got very small number of urinals. But even in that situation, because of the cost of water, maybe operational costs as well, we can actually provide a very good ROI structure for any washroom operator. Next slide, please. So why waterless urinals? And there's a number of reasons. Obviously, the first is it's good for the environment. The annual saving of up to 100,000 litres or more of valuable drinking water per urinal is a very good benchmark figure. So 100,000 litres, that's 100 cubic meters. And typically, I suppose the average water tariff here in the UK, we're going to have a bit of a stab here at the middle of the road. That would equate to about £300. That in its own right has got a CO2 reduction figure attached to it, 175 grams per cubic metre of water saved. That's an industry standard that is used across the board. Odourless operation is quite an important point there. We get a number of comments come into the website or calls into the office where somebody's been into a washroom that's got a URIMAT waterless urinal technology and they comment that there's no odour. There's no chemicals and there's no oils used in its operation. Interesting enough, it has a carbon neutral manufacturing process, and the actual urinal bowls are recyclable. So if a product comes off the production line and it's faulty, damaged, blemished, it can be shredded and the product sent back to the beginning again. We use lightweight products for minimum environmental impact, and that includes the impact in packaging and transport. And the URIMAT technology uses an environmentally friendly, pH neutral microbiological cleaning system. A next reason, lower maintenance costs. That's both for preventative and reactive maintenance. There's some comments there from Louise Little. She's the campus service supervisor at Leeds Beckett University. First point there she's making, they used to get a lot of blockages in traditional urinals on campus, and there's lots of problems that can be associated with that. Traditional urinals were running on battery sensors that were regulating the flush, and the batteries weren't getting changed, so the system didn't work, and that in its turn created huge problems with odour, and probably that would also relate back to the original one about blockages. And then overflowing and flooding urinals caused by blockages has, a huge damage, especially if it goes undetected over a weekend, for instance. But installing the URIMAT waterless urinal technology removed that problem completely. Next slide, please. And they're much easier to clean. The cleaning process is you remove the sieve and clean it in a bucket of diluted MB ActiveCleaner. Spray the urinal with the MB ActiveCleaner inside and out. Wipe the urinal bowl with a cloth to remove any debris. Replace the sieve and lastly spray the inside of the bowl with diluted MB ActiveCleaner and leave this on the surface to work. Now I know this is a different process to the experience of most janitorial training, but because the MB ActiveCleaner is a spore-based bacteria, that bacteria needs its food source, which is urine, to work, which is why the product needs to stay on the surface of the urinal. So it's quick and simple compared to cleaning traditional urinals, and no flushing with water is required. Just some customer feedback there on the screen. Likewise, this was from Louise. They always look clean, they always smell clean, and they're 100% easier to clean because there's no water going into them. Cleaning them so much easier than traditional urinals and more efficient too. Can't believe how long the cleaning fluid lasts for. That's a very important point there in terms of when you're looking at the cost justification. The feedback from the cleaners is really positive. They find the water urinals much easier to clean. You just spray them and wipe round, no more scrubbing or rinsing. And another advantage is good aesthetics, stylish washrooms. We obviously have a number of different URIMAT urinal bowls, different shapes, etc. That picture there in front of you is actually from a Hilton hotel, and as you can see, aesthetically a very smart washroom. So we can demonstrate to a customer, a client, a prospect that we can introduce a visible commitment to the environment, upgrade your washrooms, the visible impression for your organization, bring in style, especially into public washrooms. Customer feedback on urinal style, there's Sue Dawson's comment there. She's the operations director at that very hotel, which you've just seen the picture of. She obviously looked out for a product that was going to be aesthetically pleasing to the environment and Hilton's own brand standards, and she obviously came across the URIMAT urinal, which they've installed there on our website. It's a very modern looking facility. We're very happy with the results. It feels fresh and modern. And then just for the cost justification, the return on investment promise, obviously we've got a lot of experience across all sectors. Just some case studies here. There's one of our early clients there, a global software company with their HQ not far from where we're based in Woking, Surrey. They achieved a payback in 18 months. That is 18 months to 24 months is a fairly typical return on investment period. Obviously, as you go into much higher water tariff regions around the UK, especially where there's surface effluent charges, so on and so forth, we can have paybacks. There's a food producer there in Cornwall being in one of the higher tariff region areas, 6 months payback. Likewise, up in the northwest, the tariff is fairly high, so there was a payback there with that client of just over 6 months. And then the last case study, this was a soft drink company up in Norfolk who had, not only did they have a fairly high water tariff because they want effluent charges because of the type of operation they had there, they had quite a number of problems with their infrastructure as well. So there was a lot of water being wasted, and they had a payback of 4.5 months. So very impressive. So how does the URIMAT waterless urinal technology work, and how does it compare? There's basically 3 different methods. The initial or original type of waterless urinal was a barrier, which used either a chemical or oil. And once the urine's been through that medium, it's reseals to reduce the odor. The issue we found with clients that had this product was it was quite expensive to maintain, and also the oil seal or barrier can be damaged quite quickly with somebody pouring a bucket of water into that urinal, so you've immediately got to replace the medium, the trap or whatever the insert is. Then you've got sleeve technology. This urine passes through a sleeve and then through a seal into the water system. Can be expensive to maintain if you've got high footfall locations, and the seal needs to remain moist, otherwise it can lead to some hygiene and odor issues within the washroom. Then you've got URIMAT's patented active trap. It's the only urinal globally that uses this technology, and it's very effective at preventing odors and hygiene issues. And we've actually done some analysis, and we think it probably is the most cost-effective technology to actually maintain throughout any environment. How does the active trap work? Basically, this is in the base of the urinal, so it's the lowest point, and urine is collected and channeled into the vertically positioned membrane in the sewage system, which you can see there. As soon as the urine stops flowing through, the membrane closes, and this way prevents gases from the sewage system from escaping into the room. We've actually got an integrated block of the MB ActiveCleaner on the top of the actual trap technology there, and some of the urine during use is going across that block as well, so it's taking some of the organic matter into the waste system, which is breaking down urine deposits, body fats, and so on and so forth. After the block in the top has completely dissolved, you'll see a red disc because that's a translucent cover, and that's the signal to tell you that the product needs replacing. The vertical membrane technology guarantees that odors are completely sealed away and can withstand both negative and positive pressures, so it's impossible for gases from the sewage system to escape. We've got one patented update to this technology, which has only just been released by URIMAT, and that is that we are now introducing a non-return valve into the base of the urinal receptacle where that MB Active trap insert goes, so that when that is being taken out during the replacement process, the non-return valve seals the waste outlet connected to the drainage system, so that during the process of changing that insert, you don't get any odor back into the washroom from the drainage or sewer system. And that technology has also got a worldwide patent on it as well. So what's involved in installing URIMAT waterless urinals? Well, it's actually very simple. You've only got a waste connection. You do actually need, for retrofit situations, you do actually need to make sure you can change the existing waste system back to the drain connection or soil stack network. The main reason for that is that any existing waste system is going to have urine stones in it or deposits of some sort, and you wouldn't want a new installation to be handicapped just by the fact that the existing waste system hasn't been replaced. We have a range of models available which cover the footprint of virtually every existing water flushed urinal bowl out there. So we can advise you on what is the best product for any particular retrofit situation, and that means that you don't have any additional uplifting costs for covering ceramic tiling, IPS systems, and so on and so forth. So even in retrofit situations, it's straightforward and cost effective. How do you go through that process? Well, we would receive an inquiry from a client here into the office via the website. If it's a small installation, we probably would ask you to provide some pictures, some drawings, some criteria for the washrooms, and also any existing water use analysis you have. For much larger situations where there's lots of washrooms, typically one of the team from Ecoprod would come to site and do a survey. If you wanted real-time information in terms of your existing water usage, we would encourage you to do some water metering. That may be required. Obviously it has a cost associated with it, but for large operations and where large volumes of water being used, it would be a good idea to go through that process to analyze just how much a water metering situation would cost. Then you get a quotation or business case proposal from us, providing water savings, expected cost savings, and a return on investment calculation. We'd also bring into that for you your carbon reduction figures, so you can report on everything based on the total water saving. Just some case studies we're going to show you. There's Stonehenge Visitor Centre. English Heritage, they installed URIMAT in the new Visitor Centre when it was built and opened in December 2013. Following the success of this original installation, they found that their washroom couldn't cope with the volume, and they actually made an additional coach park or welcome centre and installed a further 8 URIMAT urinals, which you can see there in the picture. And there's a quote there from Jamie Graham, the operations manager. You need to remember that that location at the height in the summer season has in excess of 9,000, nearly 10,000 visitors a day. They've got some issues on that site. They're on a borehole, which has got a license attached to it from the Environment Agency, so they have to keep their usage within those parameters, otherwise they'll get fines. They also have to treat all the sewage on site, which is tankered away. So if they can reduce on the water usage, they actually reduce on their sewage costs as well. And then back to the Hotel MK project. I know we've already touched on this case study in the webinar earlier, but as I say, they were looking for a product that was stylish, good quality, functional for such a busy venue. The washrooms were refurbished in stages. These washrooms are actually used by both hotel, and because this is connected to the MK Dons Stadium, this is actually an integral part of the stadium as well. So the footfall in these washrooms is regular and at times very high. If you go to our website on the resources tab, there's a lot more information that's downloadable. Some very instructive and thought-provoking publications that we've put together, the team at Ecoprod. So when you've got a moment, visit the website and look at what resources are available and take time to read through those documents. As I say, we have been particularly focused on the URIMAT urinal technology on this webinar this morning, but there's a whole host of products there available, information that actually gives you the resource to manage, operate, install, design very environmentally friendly and effective commercial washroom environments. Are there any questions? Any questions, Rachel? Oh, well, if there's no questions, thank you very much for your attendance this morning. Appreciate you joining us. As I say, visit the Ecoprod website, look at what's available for you, get in touch. One of the team would be glad to follow up with you. We can also follow up with you separately if you've got any bespoke questions. So many thanks for joining this webinar.